You can close your eyes now. Listen to your breathing. With every exhale, your body grows a little heavier, radiating a little more warmth. And now, release your mind into the placid waters of a very old story. The story of Narcissus. This is a place where time is forgotten. The air is always like that peaceful moment between twilight and dawn. The sky is painted in pale shades of lavender and pink. From afar, you can hear the never-ending soft gurgle of water. This sound is calling you. It leads you deep into a lush, tranquil forest. Here, the trees are like gentle giants, greeting you with their leaves. The moss on the ground is like a thick, soft carpet. It was in this forest that a young man named Narcissus lived. His beauty was not a human beauty. It was like the reflection of a god, fallen to earth. His hair was woven from the sun's most golden rays. His eyes held the green-blue secrets of the deepest lakes. When he walked, even the flowers seemed to bow toward him. But Narcissus was unaware of this beauty. Or perhaps it simply did not touch him. His heart was as distant as the coldest winter day, as unfeeling as the hardest marble. The admiring gazes of those who looked upon him meant nothing to him. It was as if beauty was only a shell, and the inside was completely hollow. In this forest lived another spirit like him, Echo. Echo was a nymph of Echo. A curse had been placed upon her. She could never speak her own words, only repeat the last syllables, the last words of the sounds she heard. One day, as Narcissus was wandering in the forest, Echo saw him, and for the first time, someone's beauty touched her heart. It was as sudden and painful as an arrow to the heart, but at the same time, it was as sweet as the sweetest honey. Gently, she began to follow Narcissus. She listened to the faint sounds his feet made on the moss. Narcissus stopped for a moment. He couldn't believe his ears. A faint rustle, a crackle. He looked around. No one was there. "Is anyone there?" he called out, his voice echoing through the forest. And a voice from behind a tree answered him. There! Narcissus was surprised. "Come!" he shouted. The voice answered immediately. "Come!" Narcissus moved toward the direction of the voice. And then, in the shadow of a tree, he saw a shy figure. He saw Echo. In her eyes, a pure, unrequited love and admiration shone. But Narcissus's heart could not feel it. He only felt that a stranger was disturbing him. He looked at her with a cold, distant expression. "Leave me alone," he said, his voice sharp and hard. Echo's heart was shattered. As tears streamed from her eyes, she could only say one word. "Alone?" she whispered. And from that day on, Echo's body could not withstand this great pain. She wasted away, consumed by love and grief, until only her voice remained. Only an echo that still, in that forest, whispers the last words of love. Thus began Narcissus's eternal vigil. He never left the water's edge. Days and nights passed. He did not eat. He did not drink. He only watched that face in the water. He whispered words of love to it. He reached into the water time and time again to touch it. And every time he watched the face distort and disappear. It was a cycle that drove him mad, a cycle of hope and despair. Every time the face returned, his heart would fill with joy for a moment, only to be shattered again by the pain of being unable to touch. His own face was growing pale day by day. Dark circles formed under his eyes, his cheeks grew hollow. But he, thinking that his beloved under the water was also fading, suffered even more. "Please don't go," he would say. "Please don't leave me." but the reflection in the water repeated the same things back to him, silently. It was the loneliest love, a love for oneself, but one that was never understood. Time no longer had meaning for Narcissus. The seasons changed, but he was unaware of anything. His strength was finally exhausted. One last time, he reached for his beloved in the water. This time, he leaned over with all his might, to embrace him, to kiss him. But again, the same thing happened. The face dissolved. And this time, Narcissus could not find the strength to recover. His head fell upon the bank. His golden hair gently lapped at the surface of the water. As he drew his last breath, his eyes were still on that pale, sorrowful face that appeared as the waters stilled once more. "Ah," a whisper escaped his lips, "we are united at last." But this was not a union. It was a farewell. As Narcissus lay there by the water, his body lifeless, the gods took pity on him. Or perhaps, as a memorial to this tragic love, they transformed him into a flower on a slender, delicate stalk, with white and yellow petals, its head always tilted slightly forward, as if looking into the water. They named it the Narcissus flower. And that flower still grows by the edges of clear waters, its head slightly bowed, as if still searching for its beloved in the depths. Perhaps it sees its own reflection. Perhaps it only watches the ripples the wind makes on the water. It became a symbol of an eternal search, an impossible love for one's own self. And now, as this story ends, you are still in that forest. The soft gurgle of the water is still in your ears. The air is filled with the peaceful blue of twilight. Breathe in. Breathe out. The story of Narcissus is over, but your peace, your deep rest, continues. The sound of the water draws you deeper, into calmer waters. With every exhale, you relax a little more. Your body sinks deeper into the bed. The thoughts in your mind, like leaves floating lightly on the water, come and go. Don't try to hold them. Just observe. Just breathe. And listen to the sound of the water. That gurgle is a lullaby sung for you, an invitation to a peaceful sleep. Your eyelids are heavy. Your breath is regular and calm. All is well. Everything is peaceful. Just let go. Just sleep. The sound of the water envelops you. The story of Narcissus fades away, replaced by pure serenity. This serenity surrounds you. You are falling into a deep, peaceful, sweet sleep. You are falling. Falling. And Narcissus, after rejecting Echo, continued on his way. The forest perhaps felt a little quieter, a little colder to him, but he didn't notice. His feet led him in a direction he had never been before. And then, the forest suddenly opened up. Before him was a pool of dark blue water, incredibly clear and smooth. It was not a lake, but like a piece of the sky that had fallen to the ground, motionless. The water was so still that it perfectly reflected the clouds above, the branches of the trees, everything. Narcissus, weary, knelt by the water's edge. He leaned over to reach for a handful of water to drink, and in that moment, he experienced the greatest, most shocking, most fateful moment of his life. On the surface of the water, he saw a face he had never seen before. This could not be the face of a mortal. This was the face of a god. His hair shone like gold, his eyes like stars. His lips were of a perfection that even the most perfect statue would envy. Narcissus was enchanted. He was frozen. His breath caught in his chest. Who was this? Where did this beauty come from? He had never seen anything like it. He had never felt such an attraction. Slowly, He reached his fingers toward the water. He wanted to touch, but as soon as his fingertips touched the water, the face shattered. Ripples formed, and that perfect beauty disappeared. Narcissus's heart tightened with panic and pain. He drew back. His eyes waited for the water to calm again, for that face to return. And he waited. And then, slowly, the water grew still, and he was there again. That perfect being. Narcissus leaned toward him. "Who are you?" he whispered. The lips moved, but no sound came. He only saw the water tremble slightly. "Come," said Narcissus, his voice trembling. The same word fell silently from the lips. This was magic. This was a curse. This was the most cruel game fate had ever played on him. He had fallen madly, insanely, hopelessly in love with his own reflection. And he could not understand that it was only a reflection. For him, it was a real being living under the water, looking at him, enticing him. And this was a being he could never possess, never touch.